Hey again, friends. Welcome again to Tactical Enlightenment. You are watching our expert series of tactics. This series of videos is designed to show you some of the most difficult situations I encountered in my campaign and then deployed extremely difficult, highly coordinated tactics to overcome those obstacles. This series of 8 videos should help anybody get from the intermediate stage and turn you into a bona fide warlord ready to conquer your map in Calradia. Alright friends, welcome back to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. This is another one of our series of freestyle videos. This is part of a new portion of the campaign. For those following the campaign for a little while, of course, they know that I'm sort of hemmed into a small portion of the map. We have, I think, 4 cities and maybe 5 or 6 castles, sort of in this oblong shape. Kind of looks like a sideways oval. And we have the enemy pushing in. Now, Sturgia owns Omora there, and Sturgia's been kind of an uneasy ally. I've got this one army that I left there, but basically what I'm going to try to do is I'm trying to invade Battania and Valandia down here, cause some difficulty for them, and what I'm hoping is it provides a little bit of relief. Right before I left, I manned up some of these castles well. They've got quite strong defenses in it, as well as Epicrotia. But at Epicrotia, I took a large part of the garrison, and then we set off southwest into Valandia and Battania territory, hoping, kind of like the earlier southern part of the campaign in this in my videos, to do some real damage down here. So first we took Legetta. We were able to put a nice sized garrison there. You know, that's definitely strong enough to hold even as part of our empire for a while. Then we took Veron Castle, Lanaken Castle, and now one of my ideas is I'm going to try to loop around here. Maybe even take Sargat. I think that's how you'd pronounce it. Who knows how you pronounce it? Ortesia, and then loop back kind of to our homeland to hopefully defend anything that's under attack there. My idea is kind of to cut off the Aserai here, and if possible, keep the enemy from attacking our home field. I mean, I realize, you know, with 7 different kingdoms fighting against me, it's still likely we're going to be attacked at home. But that's the idea. That's the strategic overview of the campaign right now. I mean, of course, we're deep in the heart of Battanian's territory here. You know, we've got a nice army. I've got most of my companions at full health, right? These guys are ready to rip if we are attacked. And we're right next to the Battanian capital, right? Pen Canuck is right there. So we're likely to encounter hostilities eventually here. But we're going to go ahead and try to take a few more castles and maybe another city as we continue on this campaign. So this series is the freestyle series. In other words, I'm basically just talking into my mic as things happen, and things are happening here. We got, what is that, 2 different? Looks like 2 different Valandian armies down here, and that's a lot. 20, is that 2,900? And a Battanian force converging. Okay, shit. Well, I can't leave, and I can't begin the assault yet because our siege tents aren't made. So I think we just gotta fight this force as is. So maybe the campaign's gonna come to a gruesome end today. Like all our other videos, like we're gonna show losses as well. Even in the freestyle series, if we lose a battle and outnumbered almost 4 to 1, we're probably gonna lose. I'm gonna run on normal difficulty just because I've had a lot of people request that I play all my episodes like that. If I'm facing a force of 5,000 or 6,000, I probably will lower the damage, but against 3,700, we'll give this a shot. Now this is helpful. I can see the end way out there, and I'm uphill, and I have my flank on the left here covered by this river. So this is at least going to give us a shot of winning this battle. Maybe it's a futile hope that I have right now, but the landscape is definitely helpful for defending. So I think I'm going to put shield wall cavalry on the left here, and then a square cavalry on the right. And we're going to try to create a funnel. This is a practice I've been, this is a tactic I've been practicing for a little while. Even in battles where I was like evenly numbered against the opponent, and it's suited for moments like this. And the idea of it is basically to create a funnel with your 2 different cavalry divisions, right? In my army, the 3rd will be in a square, and the 2nd I'm going to stretch across here. So that 2nd will be in shield wall, 3 men deep, three horses and men deep. And I'm dragging the 7th now, and this is against Valandia, so I'm hoping what I can do is then position troops behind these 2 cavalry divisions and effectively create a funnel of death where where any troops that come through this funnel, you see the distance here between the cavalry lines. Get that third set, and I'm going to set the 6th and 8th behind him here. Anything that comes through this gap here is going to be immolated, right? We're going to attack it. I'm also going to move my 1st infantry up. Right now, it almost looks like a false gap strategy where you leave an opening and the enemy comes into it. But what we're going to do is at the last second, especially if I can bait their cavalry, I'm going to bring my infantry up. I got to get these guys positioned so they cover this whole stretch here. Let's clean this up a little. It's not going to work unless the formation is clean. That's a little bigger gap still than I want, so I'm going to try to draw this down. Keep an eye on the enemy. Those are horse archers, so I got a few seconds here to organize this. So you see nice and strong, deep cavalry wave right there. Lots of ranged units behind it. My 4th and 5th archers are behind on the right there. And I want to create basically an opening here for 5 or 6 horses to get through and no more. And then the idea is once they get through, we're going to hold fire here. I'm not going to shoot arrows at 40 archers. Once they get through, we're going to fucking throttle them with an attack. The 6th and 8th Division can collapse on them, and then we'll be able to hammer them with projectiles. Yeah, that's a lot of cavalry. So what I want to try to do with this is bait it. So I'm going to get kind of close to them. I want these guys to think that we're running out of fear. This is a feint, right? A feint retreat. In reality, I want these fucking dogs coming right into the cage, and then we're going to collapse on them. All right, here, holy fuck, that's a lot of cavalry. All right, here we go. This may not work, but it's going to be fun to try. All right, opening fire. 1st Corps moved to fill the gap, and now we're going to help them with some javelin throws here. The idea, okay, so not many cavalry are coming down the center. They're jamming up initially. I'm going to try to pick these guys off as they come through. Right, I've got 30. Well, actually, I just looked down. I have 16 javelins. I thought I'd have a lot more. I guess I wasted a few. So now the 6th and 8th are sent in to attack. Anybody on the edges here, they should obliterate. This 1st infantry, too, nobody's attacking them. Let's go ahead and send them in there, too. Any of those horses that are kind of penned up, they're going to go in there and savage them with their weapons as well. All right, now we got to see if I can't. I see some of their cavalry got through here. I'm going to try to limit how many of their guys are harassing our forces behind. And the idea is those big 2 strong cavalry divisions, it's about 70 horse. Those guys will repel the enemy. Like barely any of that, like 200 something heavy cav got through. This is what's going to happen to you fellas if you come into our cage here, right? You come into our funnel of death, you get beheaded, right? We're going to be ruthless to the enemy here. All right, so backing up, I don't want to pursue their infantry, right? I want them to come into this almost a modified kill box, right? I'm going to play very defensive here and bring these units back to 6th and 8th. I'm going to pull them back, and then around the edges here, I'm going to skirmish. I'm basically the troops that are free, the troops that are running around and threatening my forces, I'm going to kill, and the rest of them, I'm going to let the archers go to work. I see lots of death spam by our archers and by our skirmishers, and that's the idea, right? 1st Division I got just held back here kind of as a reserve. We're going to pick off these troops that are sort of trying to deal with our heavy horse and kill this noble. How the fuck am I not killing this guy? Die, motherfucker. Long-time watchers of the show will know that we do a little bit of swearing here. I'm ex-military. And to be perfectly honest, if you don't like swearing, I'm sure there's some other Bannerlord channels out there. We won't I won't be attacking anybody with it, but just know that there's going to be some swearing. Hopefully it's tasteful and not something that bothers you. Look at all these javelins. So the screen, the death screen, which I like to look at a lot, I see their infantry's retreating. Now hold fire here. They might be regrouping already. We fucking devastated that first wave. I mean, we suffered some losses for sure, but they suffered a lot of losses. We got these, are those Britannian fiend ships? Yeah, they are. All right, we're going to try to deal with some of these guys. These highly powerful archers. They got a half dozen, maybe a dozen of these guys that are left. Well, they have no support. Anytime an enemy leaves some of its units without support, kill them. Shit, just took a fucking mean spear shot. Cut their heads off, right? These Britannian fiend scum. They should be in our army, not in the scum Valandians. All right, again, horses coming up. We're going to use this 1st infantry kind of to shut the door there, right? To make it harder for troops to get in. It looks like an opening until we move that infantry division up, and then all of a sudden the enemy, of course, has to deal with angry infantry, shock troops, pikes in their face, etc. That is a fuck ton of enemy down there still. Of course, we're outnumbered 4-1, right? So the whole battle, we're going to be outnumbered badly. We're basically going to have to operate tactically. I don't want to say perfectly. There is no such thing. But we're going to have to operate in a very, very strong acumen here of tactics. Otherwise, we're not going to win. Now, we're trapped here. Unlike some of the sieges where I'm heavily outnumbered, if we lose this battle, the campaign is over. I'm captured. All my troops are captured. We're fought. So this is kind of for all the marbles here. It reminds me of an attack by the enemy a long time ago. Actually, in the other campaign, when we were raiding the south, something like 4,000 forces. It felt like a coalition army, something like out of the Napoleonic War. They sent this huge force at us. Okay, so we're in a ranged battle now. So what I'm doing right now is I'm moving my archers physically to where the arrows are. I know that might seem strange, but your guys will pick up arrows. You can see them getting down there. Looks like they're teabagging frogs or something like that. These guys they're highly respectful. They don't do any teabagging, but what they do is they pick up arrows and bolts that are on the ground. You can see them every time they're squatting. They're doing air squats. These guys are all on hold fire, but they will pick up arrows, right? I don't want them shooting arrows until they're all concentrated and loaded up. I don't want 3 guys shooting arrows. I want all of them shooting arrows. And you can move your troops over where there's a bunch of the enemy arrows hitting the ground, and they will pick them up and then fire them back at the enemy, right? Very, very poetic to kill the enemy with their own arrows. So I'm in no rush here. You know, we're outnumbered 4-1. I'll be shocked if the enemy doesn't attack. I have had battles where the enemy hugely outnumbered us and played defensive. But Valandia, if you know anything about the kingdoms, they tend to be aggressive. They have a lot of heavy horse. Yeah, they're coming up here. They've got horse on the side. We pick some of these guys off with javelins. And back into my square here for protection. And we'll see. I would imagine infantry is also coming up behind them too. So again, we're going to continue to use this funnel. This is effectively just kind of a new tactic I developed. It's just a new formation. Here they come too. Yeah, infantry coming up. Let's let them in. Let's back the infantry up. And let's let this infantry in. Quite frankly, I want them to come in. I have skirmishers here. They're getting shot point blank by archers. Yeah, you guys come on in. It's not a very big group of infantry, but we're going to slaughter this fucking infantry. The 6th, 8th, and 1st all get told to attack at the same time. 7th is behind me. That's our heavy-duty horse archers, and we're going to throttle this fucking infantry. They have no support again. They should be attacking all at once. I mean, their archers are raining in shots, but they're at too far a distance away to do us major damage. And because we have these cavalry up here in defensive formations, a lot of the arrows are hitting our horse. That was most of them already. I mean, they just melted away. Almost like their first infantry wave, or their first cavalry wave. It was a huge wave, and it just kind of melted away. And you go, buddy. All right, we're going to clean up some of the guys on the edges here. I can see my guys getting shot off their horses. I mean, these cavalry have done great service for our little kingdom here. You know, the guys that held these shield walls, it's largely dissolved by this point. There's hardly any cavalry left. Maybe, yeah, there's only 6 guys of the 2nd Division. But I mean, how many guys did they take with them? Right? So now we're going to be offensive with the 3rd Cav here. They were in a square, and I've got these. It's archers basically coming up. It's mostly archers and some infantry. We're going to attack with our cavalry here. These are all their archers that expended all their bolts. They're now charging. But our 6th and 8th Corps, along with this cavalry, is more than happy to fight a bunch of archers, right? These guys with 300 two-handed skill, we're going to fucking dominate these guys too. A bunch of sharpshooters. And shit, I'm getting cornered here. Taxi! I need a taxi! You guys probably know. You say, Uber! I just age myself with every comment. I need an Uber! You just jump on a horse, get out of Dodge, and those that were pursuing you, then you slice their heads off with your... That was perfect timing. With your pole arm. Right, another one, just perfect timing. You gotta love the death sounds in the game. That gal was like, ah! She sounded like the Wicked Witch getting a house landed on her. Oh boy, more dating and how old I am. All right, So we're going to regroup here. We're bringing the cavalry back. That was another wave of the infantry, or another wave of the enemy that we just completely eviscerated. I couldn't keep very close watch of the death kills there, just because I was busy cutting people's heads off, but it sure seemed good. And even though I'm running normal player damage after 3 waves of the enemy here, I'm in pretty good shape. So this is... I can't tell what it is, but we're going to back up again and continue to try the same kind of formation. We don't have the same amount of troops. It looks like I'm finally getting reinforcements. Yeah, this is 1st Infantry, so we can spread them across here. Okay, this is mixed cavalry, enemy cavalry, and infantry coming in. Here come my reinforcements, though, and I just told those guys to spread out in front of us. So those guys will fan out. We still have skirmishers here. I'm standing next to guys. I can see them shooting still. And we're going to basically let these guys get into place, right? This new infantry division is my 1st division. Shield wall, right? We're going to kind of play defensive until it's time to attack, and then we're going to obliterate this foe. These are weak cavalry. Well, not weak, but this is like their middle tier cavalry. It's a good sign that we're fighting middle tier cavalry. They still have high level archers and infantry, but it's a good sign that a lot of their heavy horse was killed in that 1st assault. There's just dead horses and dismounted horses everywhere. Yeah, still some sharpshooters in here. Hardened crossbowmen, right? That's their 2nd tier guys. That's a nice shield. Take that, thank you. That's another wave of Landians, just kind of immolated away. I'm astonished at how easily this is going, in part because they're kind of coming in one at a time. I think partly their timing and their strategy got disrupted by the fact that their cavalry died so quickly, and because they charged so far ahead following us, their forces were kind of strung out, right? There's a pretty good distance between where the enemy's getting reinforcements. I might pick up a bow and arrow in this fight, we'll see. For now, I'm not gonna. I'm too savage with an axe. We'll just leave it as is. I'd have to drop my shield also. But the enemy's kind of strung out here. And what I mean by that is their reinforcement location is a couple 100 yards back, right? Saw that guy get plowed. Or if this guy's got any javelins. Yeah, you do. Okay, so another group of cavalry coming in here. We're going to hide behind our wall here. Let's form these guys into a square here, just so they have some protection. This is an infantry division, and I will effectively be part of their square, right? We're just going to play defensive for a second. That's a fuck ton of horses. But as soon as their momentum is lost, you know my axe is coming out, right? You know I love attacking weak cavalry. So we'll let those guys kind of bundle up here. One of the main things we're trying to do also is let these guys get jammed up just like they are, and now it's time for murder. These guys are distracted. They're busy trying to whack away at our square, and I can just come in here and decimate their ranks, almost like Conan the Barbarian. Just by myself, kill a couple dozen guys. Right? They really should be prioritizing me as a target, and sometimes the enemy does, but when they don't, you know, fucking watch out for these spears. When they don't, right, it's lethal. Okay, block a few more cavalry. Okay, I see archers and infantry coming up there, but I want to deal with this cavalry, so we're going to move forward aggressively on it. I want to kill as many of these cavalry. What I want to continue to do is sort of keep the enemy off balance. When they send in 300 guys and 300 more behind them, I want to kill the 300 that are present before they have a chance to reform. Don't let the enemy reform in other words. These archers look like they're backpedaling. Let's not let them repedal, right? Our infantry's right up on them. It's our turn to take momentum in this battle. I know it seems audacious. We're getting flanked here a little bit. These fucking assholes. Maybe I can mow a handful of them down. I know it seems audacious to attack here, but sometimes when you have momentum, you want to keep it. If I back up my forces now, right, those forces are turning their backs to the enemy, and I don't have reinforcements coming yet, right? This is all I have. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to rampage a little bit, behead a few more guys. Oh, my shield blocked that one. Beautiful. And we're going to try to basically keep our momentum going in this battle. I'm looking up there. I see green death spam, right? At this stage, we have higher level units than the enemy. We're seriously outnumbered. I mean, we're outnumbered like 700, maybe 750 to 250. Right? Actually, it should be almost close to 800 versus 200. But if we can maintain momentum,
just like that guy maintained momentum after I killed his horse. Maybe we can just steamroll the enemy down, right? I've got the 8th Corps is now in the face of the enemy. Those guys are going to die, but they're part of this momentum charge, right? Fucking, that's a lot of enemy horse. So might be foolish, but once you commit to this type of a momentum swing, it's wise to keep on pushing it out. And my guys are concentrated there. There's a nice mass of them, 60, 80. And there's only about 110 left. But I'm going to aggressively move them up because I saw reinforcements appear up in the corner. So at this stage, I'm just going to plow into the enemy, reckless style, right, kamikaze style, and hope that our reinforcements get here before our forces here are annihilated. While I got a second here, the term annihilated, by the way, is often used, and what that really meant originally was the entire force was destroyed. That almost never actually happened. And God, it took another spear. That almost never actually happened in real medieval war. But in this case, right, my forces will fight to the death. They're loyal. You know, obviously we've been kicking ass at them. Napoleon's forces were extraordinarily loyal too. Like at the end of his campaign, guys would just fight to the death for him because they felt like he was a god-ordained ruler. All right, these cavalry are a problem. There's a fuck ton of cavalry. Here comes infantry though, and it's nice still. So we're only on our second wave of infantry, and because it's only given us, 200 guys versus their 800, these are all elite troops still. So I've got like the highest level sturgeon spearmen in there, right? The elite spearmen. I see some another nasty shot. I'm getting speared a lot in this battle. Sometimes I feel better off of my horse for defense. But I've got these elite units, and so we're going to try to continue this push. You can see they're in a nice big mass here. All right, we're going to shield wall, and we're going to push down into the enemy. All this steel that's sort of protecting us, I want to sort of stay behind it and fight at the edges of this, right? I'll fight a little bit, try not to get shot, kill some people, cut through a path once in a while, and then back off, right? I've definitely learned the more I played that you got to attack sort of in spasms, right? If you just fly across there and try to kill half their army, you'll get shot, you'll get targeted, you'll get a bunch of guys that aggro on you, and you're fucked. So I'll fight around the edges of my guys here, and we're going to just continue this sort of attack downhill. There's momentum to it as well. The game has a momentum system. You always want to be attacking downhill if you have the option, because literally your guys are moving faster when they're moving downhill, and the system, how it works is you do more damage going downhill. So they have weaker troops fighting uphill, which means they're doing less damage, and we have stronger troops fighting downhill, which means they're doing more damage. So it's kind of like Michael Jordan playing basketball against a high schooler and telling the high school player he has to dribble with his left hand. Like it's a huge mismatch, and the death screen is representative of that. I mean, I don't know. God, it seems like we're getting a 10-to-1 kill ratio in this battle. That's a nice little juke. Behead a guy and then juke his friend trying to revenge him. 60, 80. All right, so another couple bands of reinforcements. You see what I'm doing here? I'm sort of assessing what I have and then trying to come up with a plan of how to use them. It's not a great system. I've got a huge bank of archers here. I'm going to try to bring archers up, maybe even on a flank. But this is a system you have, and it's what you have to deal with when you're fighting huge battles. By the way, when guys put their shield up like that, when you're coming in with the spear, just wipe their horse out. Now they're fucking helpless. I mean, if they don't die right away to other horses, at least they're off their horse, right? See what the enemy's got here. Look at that. I still got like 30 guys of that original corps that's still plowing downhill. Right, I got, what is this, a mix? No, that's, so I have horse archers here. It's labeling them as cavalry. That's unfortunate. That 128 guys is mostly archers. I can see from here they're mostly archers. So I have those guys spread. They're shooting downhill, just like the guys running downhill, by the way. When you shoot downhill, you have more range, you do more damage. It's a superior situation to be in. So now we're going to drag our cavalry. I've got some weak horse archers in here, and we're basically going to skirmish around the edges of this battle. This infantry could shield wall. I've got those divisions kind of pulling back, and these archers are just raking the enemy as they come up. Now we're going to disrupt them. All these guys holding shields, we're just driving our horses right through them. And why do you do that? because it breaks their momentum. It makes guys face the other way momentarily with the shield, and the next thing you know, these archers, these crossbowmen, are lighting them up. When infantry are charging you in a huge block and you have archers set up, just drag cavalry right through the enemy. All you're trying to do is slow them down, you're trying to disrupt their shield wall, and try to cause carnage. That anything you can, that'll sort of delay them so that your archers and crossbowmen can get in more shots. Just raking people around the edges of this too. That little band of infantry is going to do okay, right? They're seriously outnumbered, but we're going to be able to fly in behind here, do some damage on these guys, right? The other cavalry are following me, so their infantry is getting plowed. A lot of those archers are already out of arrows. That's okay though, you know, they're higher level archers. We may even use them to charge. Again, the screen is all death. There's more enemy reinforcements coming. At this stage, I think we're winning this battle for sure. These guys look like they're routing. They're either reforming or they're routing. Hard to believe they would rout already, but it has been an ass whipping. Be able to tell by these guys down here whether or not they're routing or just reforming. Nah, these guys want more. They're just reforming. Yeah, these guys haven't had enough yet. Feels like the scene from Fight Club, where he keeps punching Brad Pitt. You hear me now? And Brad Pitt's like, nah, I didn't quite catch that, Lou. And the guy just keeps punching him. That's what the enemy is. The enemy is just a glutton for punishment here. All right, we're getting off. Let's do some footwork here. The enemy looks like they're... If this was like a real human opponent, you would definitely say the enemy is stuck in an indecisive situation. I think right now they're understanding that their tactical situation is bad. They understand that their army has been getting decimated so far. Here's a little low-rank cavalry charge. That's no problem. Look at how slow these fucks coming into battle. Yeah. His horse went flying too. De-horse a few of these guys. With the shield wall cavalry up there, I've got infantry. Those guys were getting a little too far. Let's pull them back. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a few guys on the flank, and we'll try to envelop this next big force. Now, we're higher level than most of this force, so even though the fact we're going to have archers attacking in melee, I think it'll still be a massacre. Now they're close. Attack. I still see some of these guys shooting, which is good. You can see they're coming in on the flank there, so the guys that are attacking there are basically behind the enemy, right? They're just coming in there, raking through their archers, raking through their infantry on the flank. The screen is all death. Shit, I don't need another shield. I got lots of shields now. I mean, the screen is almost all enemy dying. It's like 8-to-1 ratio, which is amazing. This is one of the biggest trouncings I've ever had against such a huge force. What is that? That's 450 more enemy coming.
Horsemen! Dismount!
Yeah, horse here, bud. Now you guys can get back on your horses. I'll steal a horse from time to time like that. You just tell your guys to get off. Kill these guys. My archers are just like running. Kill them. I don't know why they're just... Here, let me give you a demonstration of what to do. Remove their head from their body. All right, those archers probably reforming again.
All going to die down here.
Yeah, they're sending in more cav. Sometimes when an enemy's morale is sort of wavering, or how the morale system works, is they'll sort of fall back, and they're literally a handful of deaths. If you don't know, the more you kill the enemy, the more their morale starts to fade. Sometimes you can push them from where they normally would just be reforming into a full rout where they've had enough and the battle is over. If you can just get a few last killings in, like before they're able to reform. Like these enemies are reforming. When they're swinging their spears at you and holding their shields up, that's a reforming enemy. You can tell the difference when they don't even try to do that. When they run with their spear and their shield held down, and you can just cut them in the back of the head with your pole arm. That's the difference. And most of these enemies look like they're reforming, but I see some that I think are routing. And again, routing is where they just exit the battlefield. Their unit has suffered enough morale blow that they're going to leave, right? They're abandoning their friends, bunch of fucking cowards. Of course, after this battle, like, most human opponents would be out of here already. Like, they just watched their huge force get absolutely annihilated by a smaller force. I'd be routing too. What we got going on here? No, these guys are reforming. Unless I can do a little bit more damage here at the end. It's kind of risky. I'm down to a sliver of health. But if I can kill just a few more guys, they might leave. I know that seems strange, but I've played this game long enough to know that sometimes if you can just inflict a little bit more of a morale hit on the enemy, they will leave. They will just vanish. I'll put archers up on this ridge. Look how beautiful this battleground is. They're routing. I'm confident now they're routing. Oh shit, the reinforcements just bubbled out of the ground like they were fucking a geyser at Yosemite. They literally just poured out of the ground. Oh, not Yosemite, by the way, Yellowstone. Okay, these guys, they look like they want to fight. I think these are mostly peasants. We'll give them a fight, that's fine. My men's swords aren't completely covered in blood, just mostly. Kill these fucks. Yeah, recruits. Alright, we're going in too. I hope I don't get knocked unconscious at the end of battle. It always feels ignominious to get killed, or at least knocked unconscious by serfs. But I think I have enough health just to wade through these guys. They're kind of overwhelming, those guys there. It's a big force, but it's mostly peasants and blacksmiths. So in we go. We're going to chop some heads. We'll try to finish off the morale of this Valandian force. But barring a disaster here, I've pulled this out. I didn't know. I always think there's a chance for victory, but when you're up against, almost 4-1, this is about the most lopsided battle I've ever won. He's yelling, "Die!" I feel like I'm chopping wood. It's a bunch of green wood. It's not ready for the fireplace. But once we split this wood open here, then we just got to dry it for a couple of years. It'll be nice, seasoned Valandian firewood, and we'll be able to put it on a fire in a couple of years, right? We'll do a little more wood chopping here, build up our forearms, right? The ladies dig the forearms. In real life, I've got big forearms, and chicks have always made comments about it. You just got to, yeah, now they're out of here. They finally routed. You just got to build those forearms up, and yeah, I literally had I remember it to this day. I had a 9-year-old, like in the 4th grade, say, "You have really nice arms." And at that stage, I mean, it was all genetics. All right. Wow, that's a fucking rout right there. Oh, shit, we lost a family member. Pazel, he was a savage fucking infantryman. He was a javelin infantryman. That's a serious loss. But this is an amazing victory for us, and it's going to allow us to continue this campaign, devastating Valandia, devastating Britannia. I still see 8th Corps. Some of my 8th Corps is still up. That's awesome. And it's a beautiful sunset, right? We're going to have a picnic here amongst the chopped off limbs of the enemy and celebrate our glorious victory. So hopefully you learned some tactics in there of how to deal with enormous opponents, right? This was, if I remember right, this was like 36 or 3,700 Valandians. So we're gonna ride off into the sunset here, victorious on this beautiful landscape. We used tactics. I think I'll label this episode, the funnel of doom or something to that effect. It's a new tactic I've been kind of playing with, where you're combining different formations to effectively make it very difficult for the enemy to bring their larger force to bear, against your force. And obviously, as this episode can attest to, very, very effective. So please subscribe if you're interested in following our campaign or learning more about tactics. We have over 100 videos now dedicated to helping players improve their skill at Bannerlord. Our campaign is getting pretty late. We're having these huge, very interesting battles over and over again. And I think a lot of people will find it interesting, and hopefully I can teach you a thing or two as well. Please comment if you can't hear me well. Again, it's a new mic. It's only like 2 weeks using it. A lot of people would like me to turn the music down. I'm trying to acquiesce to that request. And I'll see you friends next time.